Hi, we're 5th grade students from Summerwind STEM Academy.
And you're listening to the West Ada Podcast.
I think if there's anything I want people to take away from listening to this is how important peer tutoring can be. It's not only beneficial for the clients who receive tutoring, it's beneficial for the tutors who are able to step up into a leadership or educational role. It helps teachers, it takes the burden off of them. And I really think having a place where students can receive a secondary form of help makes the whole school embrace more of a growth mindset and become more of a collaborative environment.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the West Ada Podcast. And I say this all the time. I love anytime we can chat with students. And today we've got a couple of really sharp young ladies here to chat with us.
We have Brannia and Dany from Renaissance, and they kind of their leadership at the Lighthouse Tutoring Center, and they're really cool.
Well, and the whole reason for this, thank you for being here, by the way, but the whole reason we're talking about this, what's happening in our peer tutoring environment at Renaissance. Yeah. Renaissance is the number one school in the state, you all. I don't even know if you know that, but I mean, it is rigorous, and I love what you'll hear in the conversation. They're talking about, hey, how do we bring people in, and how do we help people not feel dumb for asking for help?
Right, getting rid of that stigma. I mean, collaborating is really the way to go.
Well, like I say, we're just so thrilled that you are here for this conversation. I think if you're even thinking about your son or daughter going to Renaissance, learning about the peer tutoring program, learning about how they just are innovative, and even using AI, we cover all. It runs the gamut. So thanks for being here. Let's do it.
Well, we're so excited to have you two today, Dany and Brannia. Welcome to the West Ada Podcast.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us today.
We're glad to be here.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And now you two are peer tutors at the Lighthouse Tutoring Center at Renaissance High School, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Dany, why don't you give us a little bit of your background and who you are and what you do at Renaissance?
Yeah, so I'm an AA senior at Renaissance, and my background actually started with Taekwondo. I used to teach Taekwondo.
No way!
Yeah,
that's cool. That's a fun fact.
Yeah, super random. I really loved it, but I eventually had to quit. And so kind of the next logical step for me was peer tutoring, because it kept it in school and it was a little less of a time commitment.
Oh, sure.
So you just found another way to teach.
Yeah, exactly. And then I eventually joined leadership my junior year, and now I'm a retired director this year in the Lighthouse.
Very
cool. A retired director.
Yeah, we passed the baton at the end of after spring break to Brannia and the other next year's team.
Okay, Brannia, share with us who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Brannia. I am an AA junior. For me, peer tutoring was actually the thing that drew me to Renaissance in the first place. So originally, before we had the Lighthouse, we had the 4 different tutoring centers, one of those being the Scribe, which was the original writing center.
Yeah.
Okay. And I remember when Renaissance came and did the tours to all the middle schools, and they described that to me, I was like, I want to do that.
How cool.
So that's what I did in my sophomore year. I joined and rose up to leadership in my junior year, and now I am the Mandarin director for the Lighthouse.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, I actually did a story a few years ago on the Scribe, and I'll put that, I'll just so people can get a little bit of a feel, but this was 3 or 4 years ago when I did this Scribe. So things have expanded, things have changed. Dany, how have things changed from it was just a writing center? Now we're talking about, we're really tutoring on all kinds of different subjects, correct?
Yeah, so I actually got to present about this at SSWCA is one of the things.
Okay.
So I got to work with a bunch of the other teachers, and we presented on it, and basically we had more than the Scribe. We had the Pi Center, Science Society, Language Lounge, and having all of them so separate wasn't particularly sustainable or succinct for the student body.
Sure.
So by bringing it together, we were able to resolve a lot of these issues and help find more common ground and help increase our inflow of clientele.
Okay, now real quick, you mentioned SSWCA. That's the Secondary School Writing Centers Association Conference.
Yeah, well, it's an organization and it hosts the conference.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And you and your team from Renaissance had the opportunity to go there?
Yes, it was in Hartford, Connecticut this year,
cool.
and it was really awesome opportunity.
Over spring break, right?
Yes, very start of spring break.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was a really fun experience. That was my first time going, and it was just so cool to see so many different perspectives on peer tutoring because each school does it a little differently. Each school
Sure.
has their own different system. So, for example, Renaissance has an after-school/lunch tutoring program, but there's also a lot of schools who do it like through classrooms and like a teacher assistant program. So, just seeing those different perspectives was really insightful.
How many of you went? How big was the group?
5 students and 3 teachers this year.
Very cool.
That's a pretty good sized group. Now, was there anything that you saw there that you were like, oh my gosh, we need to bring that back to Renaissance? Like we should be doing that? Or was it kind of like, we have something pretty unique here?
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
All of the above?
Yeah, well, because our school is really weird. It's small and it's really hard. Like with these other schools that fit in stuff into their school day, we don't have that because our schedule is just so strict. With
So rigorous.
With the Associative Arts and the IB stuff.
Sure.
So
Sure.
it's like we had to adapt to that. What was the original question?
No, that's good. That's how Renaissance is unique in
totally.
in your tutoring center. But were there some really like key ideas that you brought back and planned to implement?
Did you have anything?
I feel like there was a lot there, but something that really stuck out to me was something that we've talked about in the Lighthouse is having a shift in mindset. So a lot of times people will come into the Lighthouse and they're like, I have an essay or I failed this math test, like fix it for me. And you can spend a lot of time like editing their essay or like reteaching them the concept that they failed. But what I think I saw at the conference a lot and what I think we could implement better in the Lighthouse is teaching them not only the concept, but also how to study for the concept.
Oh, sure.
Because people, a lot of times it's like, oh, I just don't know how to do this. So we're not just teaching them what to do. I would love to like do more things about like teaching them sustainable study habits depending on the subject and just making sure that it's like growth of learning instead of just teaching one specific topic.
You know, as parents, that's something my husband and I always try to help our kids understand. It's not so much learning learning the subject or how to do the subject.
Or regurgitating facts.
It's how to be a student, how to be a good engaged learner.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's great that you picked up on that and plan to bring that back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think what's interesting too, you know, the Idaho Department of Education just named Renaissance the #1 school in the state of Idaho.
Mm-hmm. Well done.
It is crazy. Dany, how rigorous is Renaissance? What's that like from your perspective?
I think it has been very challenging. I feel like I had a fairly reasonable time transitioning because I started in the GT program as a kid and then all honors in middle school. And so the transition has been like pretty like steady step up, and it's not like they immediately like throw you in the deep end your freshman year. It's like, sure, you have 2 or 3 hours of homework, but that's once you get to like junior and senior year.
Sure. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think the obvious question is, you know, it is rigorous. Brannia, either one of you, peer tutoring is a huge part of that. What role does peer tutoring play, Brannia, in terms of helping people adapt to that environment?
To navigate that environment.
Is that even a thing? What's that like from your perspective? I
would say having the peer tutoring part of it is one of the most important things at Renaissance. Maybe that's a biased perspective, but I really think that it forces students to, number one, seek outside help. A lot of people come into Renaissance and they're so used to being the smartest kid in the room, where once they struggle, they feel like, oh, I'm stupid. Their lack of understanding feels like an impact on their self-esteem, and that makes it hard for them
to ask
for help.
Especially,
so like having a place where it's another student, it's a very casual environment where it's like, come in and we'll help you with this, I think is really important for breaking through that stigma. And especially since we merged into the Lighthouse, I feel like I've seen a lot more freshmen and younger students use the program more regularly, and that makes me really happy to see.
That's great, because it's almost like you can help kind of pave the Renaissance way, if you will, right? Like I would assume that you as Renaissance upperclassmen bring a unique perspective to the ability to tutor, like maybe your comprehensive understanding, or do you think there are some skills that make Renaissance students more adept at being peer tutors?
I think, well, for our school specifically, we understand exactly what's going on. So in our school, I'm not necessarily sure about outside the school. I think anyone can be a peer tutor. it's just kind of like learning along the way.
Now, do you, when you have younger students, underclassmen come in and meet in the Lighthouse with you, are there people who are more catered to like the AA or the IB or because there's different programs, right? Is that what you call them? Different
Yeah,
sure.
academic tracks.
academic tracks?
Yeah. So for underclassmen, it doesn't matter as much because they're not in one of the academic paths.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not until junior year you join one of the pathways.
Right.
But for upperclassmen, we tend to stick with our respective people because they have a much better idea of what like we need, what the requirements are. A lot of people struggle reading like the IB rubrics.
Yes.
Because they're weird.
They're built they're built for an international program, so
Right.
they work off like this number system that's very different than what we do. So
Yeah, they have to be like translated or something, right? I've heard that before.
Yeah. Well, and we've kind of talked about this a little bit already, but in your opinion, what does it look like to see one of your peers succeed? What does that look like for them to be like, oh, I'm actually, the light bulb's going on? What does success look like from a peer tutoring standpoint? Dany?
I'd say it feels really good knowing that you were able to like push them over the edge and get them to that next step.
Sure.
And sometimes it takes some trial and error of like, I work really well with metaphors. Not everyone does. So it's like you try one method, maybe that doesn't work, try something else, and eventually it might click, or maybe they go to a different consultant. Like there's different ways that you can reach that end goal. We're just there to we all want to get them there. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You mentioned methods of helping, how you help people, metaphors, things like that. What does the training look like for peer tutors?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that, Brannia?
Oh, yeah, sure. Typically, we've changed up our training system. It's very new this year, again, because we just became basically a new center.
Right.
Always calling back to that. But what we do now is we try to implement a more interactive portion to our training. So typically what we do is that we kind of take our new consultants through like mock consultation sessions where they're like simulating a consultation.
Sure.
And then throughout the year, we'll have different presentations or activities based around different subjects that they might encounter. So for example, one of ours is, what if you encounter a client who's like really, really shy? How do you navigate that situation?
Oh, sure.
Or what if they're like combative? There's a sense of conflict. So trying to get those interpersonal skills.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Well, I love too that it sounds like you're really turning over the leadership too. I mean, Dany, you said you're passing the baton.
Yeah.
What does that aspect of it look like?
Yeah. So for our director board, our student directors, we have one for each subject area, and so we kind of started the selection process for next year's directors about at semester.
Yeah, when the semester started.
Yeah. And so we did that. We did some interviews. We had them fill out like a survey. We talked to their teachers, checked grades, that sort of thing.
So it's very intentional about how you go about handing the baton off.
Yes, absolutely. And then I think we had a voting portion.
We did, yeah.
For the student body or for like our tutors. So they could have like some say. Like it wasn't all up to the voting process.
Sure.
But it was a huge part of it because obviously you can't have a leader that people won't follow.
Well, 100%. Yeah, that's just not the way leadership works. Yeah, sure.
So we ended up choosing our people. We announced it. We had them sit in our weekly director meetings. And then once the spring break
ended.
I can say words.
Words are hard for us sometimes, but especially for me. Yeah.
Once spring break happened, it was like, you guys are off to the
so
races.
We just kind of showed up, and that was the point when we kind of took over the meeting, set our own agenda, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that you're bringing up the next group of leaders. That's fantastic.
That's very sustainable.
Absolutely. Well, and I know that there's been some talk about the SSWCA Conference, maybe even trying to come here. Is that something that you all welcome? What's that like from your perspective? Would that be kind of cool to be like, hey, we're Renaissance and we're hosting kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it'd be really awesome, especially because it's going to encourage our people to show up. Because a lot of, it's a big commitment to fly to Connecticut in terms of expenses, time, like everything.
100%, sure.
I will say one potential downside is it doesn't have that kind of extra like flair or...
It's kind of exotic when you get to
go
somewhere different. Sure. Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
I want it to still be a unique experience, even if it's home. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I know Katie, I kind of already asked this, but is there one thing that you took away from Connecticut going, holy cow, we need to implement that in Idaho? Brannia, anything that you're like took away like, holy cow, we need to try and bring this to our peer tutoring?
I think I talked a lot about like learning sustainability already. So
Sure,
that idea
sure.
of making sure they have those study habits. I also think the last little seminar that I attended that for the SWCA conference was this thing all about just student outreach and making people want to come to the center. So it's a big stigma. We've talked about that. People don't want to come because it feels like it makes them dumb to ask for help, or they don't want to come because they feel like they're just forced to. So having like different fun activities and implementing those like into the student body to make them want to see it as like a fun place. So something that we have right now that exists is like the poetry slam for writing. We host a poetry slam. People can come in and it makes it more fun. We also do like Duolingo competitions for different world languages. So just doing a lot more of that and making learning like a consistent fun thing for the student body.
Yeah. Well, Ken and I are all about marketing, so it's kind of how you package and present it, right? So good job for thinking through those things.
Well, and this is kind of, I don't know if you can talk about this on a personal level, but how has tutoring changed your confidence level, Dany? I mean, is that even a thing?
Yeah, I totally think so. I know even from a client perspective, I've had a shift in confidence. When I was a freshman, I had my first appointment for research and communications, and I was like so scared. I was like,
Sure.
What is this?
Oh, what are we doing? Sure.
Yeah, I barely utilized the center my freshman year, and then I became a tutor, and then I was there all the time. So it's definitely like what Brannia said, there is this weird stigma, and that's one of the things they talk about at the conference every year without fail is how do we fix this? How do we change this mindset? And it's like a constant uphill battle.
Oh, gosh.
Renaissance is a very unique environment. You're all very, driven, high academic students. Do you think this concept would serve well at our other high schools?
Absolutely.
And do you think there's a way, do you think they could implement it just as you do at Renaissance, or do you think there would need to be some tweaks for maybe some of our larger comprehensive high schools? Yeah,
there would need to be some tweaks. Like we were talking about, having in-class opportunities is huge and more feasible for those schools. I know Owyhee started a center last school year, I believe. Okay. They actually reached out to me and were asking about what sort of like scheduling program we use.
I love I love the collaborative nature across our high schools. You all are doing an amazing job.
Thank you. And we definitely want to encourage it, but it's really hard to like get started.
Just kind of have to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, kind of a current day question. I'm just really curious. What about AI? I mean, you're seeing it. Yeah. People are talking about it, and it's all about the responsible and ethical use. Have you found that in your tutoring center, or how are you addressing that with your fellow students?
Do you want me to talk about it, or do you want to go?
You made that presentation.
You can start us off.
Okay.
You actually presented.
Yeah. So Brannia kind of talked about this. Our consultant crash courses is some of those like follow-up trainings that we host, and one of them was on using AI in the center.
Oh yeah.
And so one of the big things was talking about like ways to use it. So some examples were like generating practice questions for like math or science, because obviously you only have so many on like a sheet of homework.
Oh, sure.
And they usually cover like multiple concepts on one page. So it's like you want more opportunities potentially.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Other things too is like diction and word choice, clarifying things, but we also don't want to rely on it too heavily. And we want to promote like ethical use for our student body, even if it's in small ways.
What does that look like?
Yeah. So there's a lot of gray area. I know I don't like AI directly touching my written work.
Okay.
So sometimes if I'm really stuck, I know for like my TOK essay, I plugged in some stuff and was like, give me suggestions on how to like make this more succinct. Oh. And so it was like, oh, you could do this, this, and this. And so I'm like, okay.
So it's a way to tighten things up, not necessarily wordsmith what you're trying to do.
Like almost like brainstorm too with AI. Like you can put in some ideas and it gives you kind of a jumping off point.
Yeah, that's a good option, yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, it's just nice to have your perspective, because I mean, I know everyone's I utilize it in my daily workday, but how do I do it correctly, and how do I do it where it actually enhances what I'm trying to write or do? And that's really cool. That's really cool. Any other takeaways from the conference, you guys? Brannia, anything that we haven't covered that you're like, gosh, we really, because as we're kind of wrapping up here, anything we haven't talked about that like, oh gosh, this is important for peer tutoring?
I think if there's anything I want people to take away from like listening to this is how important peer tutoring can be. It's not only beneficial for like the clients who receive tutoring. It's beneficial for the tutors who are able to like step up into a leadership or educational role. It helps teachers. It takes the burden off of them. And I really think having a place where students can receive a secondary form of help makes the whole school like embrace more of a growth mindset and become more of a collaborative environment. So like Dany was kind of mentioning, there have been high schools around the area who have been implementing like peer tutoring centers. Owyhee has one. Mountain View, I know, has one. I think Meridian High School used to have one. So yeah, if there's any school who wants to incorporate peer tutoring, I would highly encourage them to do so.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's a really reciprocal process too. Like it's just not the client who's learning, but the tutor themselves are learning by doing and teaching and that kind of thing. Do you find yourself learning, Dany, in that way?
All the time. Absolutely. Yeah.
Any as we're kind of again wrapping up, any success stories where you're like, oh man, that was a good day. I really helped that client connect these dots.
A specific.
Any stories like that? I know that's kind of a hard question maybe, but any kind of like where, oh my gosh, I saw the light go on there. Anything like that?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head because I will say I feel like more often than not, tutors struggle with like imposter syndrome. Oh. So every consultation, I know I walk away and I'm like, did I do the best I could? Did I help them in the way that they needed it? So it's trying to improve that every time and also giving yourself grace.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I just love that you guys are doing this.
Me too.
And what's interesting to me too, and not to belabor the point, but when I hear, adults, high schoolers, we all deal with imposter syndrome. We all deal with, now I feel dumb. I can't go ask for help. But golly, just as we wrap up, why is it, from your opinion, why is it important to ask for help?
Because that's sometimes the only way you can get things done. I mean, humans in general, we grow from each other. We are social creatures, and there's nothing is ever done alone in any 100%. Workplace, in any sort of setting. It's never just you. It's you and a team of people, or you in the person that you're helping. So just allowing yourself space to not feel stupid and like just accept that other people are in your life and are willing to help, I think is important, not only for an academic standpoint, but just a life standpoint.
Yeah, I feel like self-advocacy is one of the huge things, both for clients and consultants.
Oh, huge. Mm-hmm. I don't like asking Katie for help, but sometimes she helps me. It's okay.
Well, I kind of think that almost it would be the opposite, right? Like people think they might be dumb for asking for help, but you're probably dumb not asking for help when the information and the resources are there.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it.
Well, I thank you both for taking the time and coming to talk to us today, because it's really cool what's happening in peer tutoring. It's specifically cool to see what's happening at Renaissance. And, if we can help spread good ideas throughout West Ada, that's the whole point of this podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you both.
Thank you guys for having us. We hope this actually helps people and gives them some ideas and stuff.
Big time. Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, I just love listening to high schoolers have a mature perspective about, listen, it's okay to ask for help.
It is.
Right?
And you know what? They really solidified that, because these two young women are brilliant. And I'm like, they're talking and I'm thinking, oh gosh, maybe I need to go to their tutoring center.
I need to learn some things about writing and podcasting.
Yeah.
No, it's just really cool to see young people helping other people in the peer tutoring. Anyway, I hope you gleaned a lot from that. Thank you, as always, for being here. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcast, on Spotify, Google, or on Amazon. If you listen on iTunes, please rate us and leave a review. And you can also go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel there, which would be lovely, and see all of our past episodes. And we're getting towards graduation time. I can't believe it's
happening
that time.
Fast. It sure is. It really is. And things get busy around here and days go by faster and faster. But if there's any topics or anything you want to comment about our current or past episodes, please feel free to email us at communicate@westada.org, and we'd be happy to interact with you.
Well, love having you here today. And again, if any of you, teachers, students at other schools across West Ada, let's get the peer tutoring thing really rolling everywhere, because there is power in not just an adult saying something, but like, hey, how do we, I love Dany talking about metaphors and how you put things together. Anyway, it's pretty cool what they're doing.
It is cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.